The way I used to go about dating was ultimately not the best way. In an unconscious state where I didn't know who I was, ultimately, I thought the benefits of dating was for someone to offer you something and you offer them something. In other words, I make you happy, you make me happy in a certain kind of way. Until I realized that's absolutely the wrong way to go about it. And in that way, it can seem like as if it's a scam because if you don't have anything to offer, or if you have all the things to offer and the other person doesn't have anything to offer, but your personalities correlate with each other, it seems that it's one-sided. Say, for example, you met a person and they had a very good personality. You guys got along very well. Uh, Ultimately, this is both coming from an unconscious state, and you made the person happy, the person made you happy, and you agreed to start a relationship, casual dating, um, and then you realize that you have took the necessary steps to create something for yourself. You have a job, you are independent, so on, and you realize the other person suddenly needs things, let's say, or doesn't pay their way in certain aspects. You realize a date after date you were the person paying, and whatever it may be, you were the person that had the residence, the house, the place to live, so on, the job. And okay, for the beginning, you go about, and that's okay, you go about dating and having fun and enjoying each other, going out on dates. But suddenly, you realize that this person doesn't have any ambition, any enthusiasm towards not only life, but themselves and what they can do and what they can create. So, in that way, it can seem as if it's a scam. There's other ways where it can seem as if it's a scam, where it's, so to speak, a one sided love relationship, where the person is with you, you have the things going for yourself, job, this and that, car, so on. You've been independent for a few years before you met this person, so you meet the person and you absolutely enjoy the person's presence. We call it fall in love with the person. And the person realizes that, but the feeling isn't mutual. The feeling is one sided, where you're very compassionate to the person, you show love, appreciation, compassion, and the other person shows minimal amount of love, appreciation, and compassion just to keep you satisfied, let's say. And then you realize this person, there's a situation that happened, and you realize this person could have helped you in that situation, whether it's answering the phone or whatever it may be. You're in a situation and you need to have this person help you, and they don't. They simply leave you high and dry. And you're sitting there thinking to yourself, what happened? What did I do? I've showed all the love and compassion I could. I've been present with the person. I've been enthusiastic about our relationship. I've set out all the roses on the bed, Valentine's Day. um, just to be let down with the simplest situation. So ultimately, it comes down to, where are you two meeting from? Are you meeting from a state of mind, mental identification, relationship, where both of you don't know who you are? Both of you don't know that you are not your thought process, you are not your emotional fluctuations, which is the falling in love. Has it gone any deeper than that? And ultimately, if it hasn't, mostly any relationship you get into is going to be a scam, so to speak, where one person's relatively conscious, the other person is more on the unconscious spectrum, where they feed off of you, feed off of your energy. And it's a roller coaster of a situation because there's continuous up and downs, where if you did something with the person or you did something for the person, it's not enough. And on the other hand, for the other person, where you're offering all these things, doing all these things, and it's not enough, at some point you have to realize that in all relationships, I want to say, all relationships, even the relationship you have with yourself, so to speak, should be genuine, conscious, compassionate. Some presence should be sprinkled in there. Nothing wrong with the small identifications with thought, okay? Giving a little disclosure or benefit of the doubt. But ultimately, there should be some sense of deep resonance where you go beyond the thought process, the emotional fluctuation, the life situation, and recognize each other as the consciousness that you are is the consciousness that they are. That goes beyond the thought process about what you have about the person. And if you don't do that in a relationship, friendship, whatever it may be, eventually something will happen where you or the other person don't like it, and the relationship begins to go downhill. In that situation where it begins to go downhill, there's still a chance where both of you can align yourselves with presence. Maybe even sit there and look at each other in the eyes. It may be uncomfortable at first, but if you don't want a, so to speak, scam relationship, scam friendship where it's one-sided and so on, you have to go deeper than your thought process about the person, about the situation. Otherwise, the falling apart of the relationship is inevitable. Thank you for joining me.